is our NFL insider. He's covered the NFL for almost 30 years. You can follow him on X at Caplan NFL, and you can see him on SportsGrid regularly and on Coast to Coast even more than that. Thank God for that. He's getting ready for his big summer tour of all the training camps around the NFL. Some of them, Adam, have already opened up shop.
Yeah, the Ravens have done that. It's really interesting, Scott. Some teams will they'll have the veterans come in after the rookies. Like you want to get the rookies comfortable, that they're not getting a little tight because the veterans are around. Some teams have the players report at the same time, the rookies as the veterans. Just depends on the team. But the Ravens reported the rookies did over the weekend, and quarterbacks and players come back from injury. That's something a lot of teams do. But, yeah, look, when you look at it, Scott, and you and I were talking about this off the air, it really comes down to this. If you feel like your team has had a good training camp, why would you have your players play in the preseason games? There's really no upside to it. All you really can do is get these guys hurt. Now, some coaches don't like hearing that. They think they need to get their timing down. Your Steelers, they play their starters. They play in all three of them into the second half. This is just what they believe. But not every team believes in that. The Rams won't let their starters touch the field in the preseason.
Well, I think that's why one of the reasons why Sean McVay is considered along in concert with Andy Reid, the two best coaches in the NFL. I see no reason at all ever, if I were the owner, or if I was the GM, or a position of power, head coach, whatever, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my lifetime, I would never let any starter that I'm paying that much money to, that I already know how good they are because I've negotiated deals with them, and I'm paying them millions across the board. Every single starter they pay millions to, and you already know how good they are. And then rookies, you already know that what the scale is, what you have to pay them. I understand why they play young kids, and rookies have to learn the system and the ropes and get into all the timing you're talking about. But no veteran player that I pay millions of dollars to play on Sundays in the NFL for 17 weeks would I let even touch a football field. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And every single year, you rue the day you did it because guys drop like flies in the preseason.
And that's why you have joint practices, though your Steelers don't do them. You have inter-squad scrimmages. Now, the Steelers do that. I've been to it in Latrobe. But, yeah, it's really interesting. If you look at the 30 teams, every team has a different view on whether the starters should play in the preseason. But you and I agree on this. The starters should not. That's what practice is for. And I'm really big into these joint practices. I think those are really important. In fact, that's the trend around the National Football League. Over 20 teams are practicing with each other this summer.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't. That has to be. But these games are a waste of time for star players that I already need to be healthy every Sunday. That's all that matters is Sunday in the NFL. That is all that matters. And of course, Monday, Thursday, and all the other, the European games and the Mexico games and the Brazil games and everything. But games that count are what matter. All right, we hit all of the divisions every week. We're doing new ones. NFC South today, pre-training camp breakdown. Let's start with the Falcons.
And we talked about the Falcons a while back. We can update their odds. The 9.5 is their win total. The over's minus 140. The under's plus 115. To win that division, they're minus 120. Now, this is what we talked about a couple months ago. We're going to update this. The issue that I had was not with their offense. I love this offense that Zach Robinson will be running. He comes in from Sean McVay and that staff. He's going to run a West Coast offense. The offensive scheme now in the National Football League that wins is the West Coast. It's a timing-based offense. Kirk Cousins is a master at it. He played in it for a lot of his career with Minnesota. I don't worry about that. Cousins is 36, coming off the torn Achilles. It's really the defense, the lack of playmakers to me. The fact that they're a huge favorite over the Buccaneers, are plus 300, by the way, to win the division. They've got the odds makers have the Bucs coming in second. It should be much tighter than that. I just don't understand why they have the Falcons as a shoe-in to win that division. Now, the coaching wasn't great under Arthur Smith. I get that. Coaching should be better under Raheem Morris. And now their defense, you could say may take a step because Morris is going to run this defense, and he's a defensive head coach. But the issue there is pass rush and issues at cornerback opposite A.J. Terrell. I don't think their defensive talent is that great. It's where the offense is going to have to carry them.
And, next up is Tampa, who was
Yep.
very impressive last year with Baker Mayfield, Evans. They hooked up a ton, and they've already shown what they can do, but they're picking this team, the Falcons, over them. Explain that to me.
Yeah, and we'll update their win total of actually 8.5. It's not 9.5. It's actually 8.5. And when you look at the Buccaneers situation, Baker Mayfield's back. Mike Evans is back. Where a couple years ago, you really wondered if he finished his career as a Buck, but the Bucs wanted him to do that, and he's going to do that. He signed a 2-year deal with about $21 million a year. Mayfield's back 3 years, $33 million a year. So they've got these guys back. They're going to reshuffle their offensive line. They'll have about 2 new starters on their offensive line. The receivers are back. Tight ends are back. Rashad White's their running back. Now, where you got issues, the Bucs, it's legit. They're at cornerback. They're not strong there at all. Their pass rush, they're very, very young. Shaq Barrett was released. So they're getting young with pass rushers. They're talented there. I could see why they might have the Falcons a smidge over them, but the Buccaneers are plus 300. That's a good number. If you believe, like I do, that the Falcons should not be the huge favorite that they are, Bucs at 300 is pretty live.
Well, they're obviously favoring the Falcons this year because Kirk Cousins is there. Because the Falcons, since they blew that Super Bowl, have never been the same, and that's all there is to it. What about the New Orleans Saints with Mr. Carr?
Yeah, and it's funny because I've been very critical of Carr's playing. It finally, oddsmakers got wise to it. Their win total is just 6.5. The over, this tells you all you need to know, is plus 115. Clearly, nobody believes they're going to even have more than 6. The under is minus 140. To win the division is plus 350. See, I think when you look at the Saints, Derek Carr's been an underachiever. The knock on him in coaches' circles is risk averse, is a good athlete, good arm, won't make the tough throw, checks it down too much. That's why Alvin Kamara had all those catches last season. They're going to have 3 new starters on the offensive line. They're not great in the second. This is a very average team. But, man, the win total is 6.5. That tells you all you need to know what the oddsmakers think of the Saints. Not very much.
And, I would guess that Dennis Allen is on a hot seat. It's literally a barbecue before the season even starts, his seat.
No question. He's my top 5 guys who've got a lot on the line this season. They've been very mediocre on him. They've kind of underachieved.
On the line.
But I don't think the roster's all that good. But what's that?
He's got a lot on the line. You got that right. He's got a lot on the line. He's doomed.
He's in my top. In fact, I said top 5. He's top 3 of coaches on the hot seat. Nick Sirianni, by the way, Eagles head coach, probably number 1.
He just went from top 5 to top 3 in less than 30 seconds on the show from Caplan.
Yeah,
all right, let's go to the Carolina Panthers. What could be worse than what they went through last year?
But they have helped Bryce Young. Dan Morgan, the new general manager, he's done that. 3 new pieces at receiver. Your guy, Deontay Johnson, comes over from the Steelers. Xavier Legette, they traded up for him, the receiver out of South Carolina. And Jonathan Brooks, the second-round running back out of University of Texas, who I'm told should be ready early on. He's come back from the ACL surgery. I'm told it was a clean ACL repair. He should be available early on in training camp. And if that happens, that's a good thing. It has not worked out with Miles Sanders at running back. Defensively, man, they need to get help at corner opposite J.C. Horn. That does worry me. Remember, they traded Brian Burns. Their pass rush is a problem. The win total is 5.5. The over is minus 115. I think this is a fair one at minus 115 because they're going to be somewhere around 5 or 6. But they had to help Bryce Young, and they've done that. But overall, this team's still in a total rebuild. And by the way, they will move their training camp that used to be, and I've been there a couple times, used to be at Wofford College in Spartanburg, South Carolina. They're moving it to Charlotte at Bank of America Stadium.